Good day, my dear fellow co-learners. We've been dealing with international business for quite some time, and I think by now we have all started appreciating the international businesses and the various strategies that they kind of adopt to make their businesses more sustainable globally. Now, there has been a lot of deliberation so far, and it's time for us to discuss and debate about the various decisions that the managers take before they even plan to expand in foreign boundaries. Now, to do this, I've decided upon a group discussion activity, and I have divided the entire batch into 11 groups of two sections. So there's section A, which is divided from 1 to 11, and section B that is divided from 1 to 11. And I have assigned topics to each group. So if you can see here, let me just use my highlighter. If you just see here the export, I have divided the advantages of export to group A, A1 and B1, and export disadvantages to group A2 and B2. So whenever I have a session with section A, I would want the team members of A1 and team members of A2 to come up on the stage and start group discussing about export as a strategy for internationalization. Right? So I think this particular division is very clear to you all. And similarly, on the day two, whenever we have and whatever time is left, we will continue with other strategies of expansion like franchising, joint ventures, wholly owned subsidiaries, and so on and so forth. Now, it is very important to set the rules clear before we begin the game, and therefore for group discussions also, as you are already familiar because we have a lot of group discussion activities at Sanjeevani College of Engineering MBA department, I would like to reiterate a few of these pointers. Firstly, students are required to read this particular presentation, which I will share to you in a short while. And I would want you all not just to stick to this presentation, but do your own bit of homework. A desktop research, gather some examples in support of the advantages and disadvantages of each entry decision that you have been assigned. The second important point is that the group discussion should exhibit coherence. So please take some time for the group members to talk amongst yourselves. Make a WhatsApp group or probably meet in person or utilize the breaks that you are given within your time in the college, and try to build upon your arguments in a very constructive and coherent manner so that you are well prepared while you come for action in the class. The third important point is that each group will be given only 10 minutes to present their views, right? So the entire group discussion, you can say 5 minutes is taken by the people who are talking about advantages of a particular expansion strategy, and 5 minutes by the other group who is talking about the disadvantages of that particular expansion plan. Now, when you are expressing your points, it is very important to be assertive. Assertiveness comes from knowledge. If you've studied your work, if you've understood a few examples, you would be able to give very strong arguments for your own group standing. However, please avoid being aggressive or personal at any point during the discussion. While the group is group discussing amongst themselves about any of these entry decisions, I would want all the spectators and the audience to make notes, to make important notes about all these strategies and write it down on their international business journals. At the end of the activity, I would like you all to submit your journals to me for assessment. I hope the rules are clear by now. Now you might ask, how would we be judged? And we therefore have a very standard operating procedure about judging the group discussion. And there is a rubrics that we will be following, which we always do at Sanjeevani College of Engineering MBA department. There are 5 key performance indicators here. First is the guidelines, which I've already mentioned to you. Second is the content that you present, and content would only come if you've studied the material and done your homework, right? Then we are talking about communication, that is verbal as well as non-verbal. So various gesticulations that you have, the aggressiveness that you show should all be in a very rightly tuned manner. It should not be overboard and it should not look vulgar at any time. And then lastly, it's very important that you all are coherent, not just in your ideas, but defending your group members. So please ensure that you work as a team and nobody hijacks the entire group dynamics. And please ensure that there is a group synergy that is well respected throughout the group discussion. So here is the presentation that I will leave for you to understand. Let me just brush through the very basics of it. This slide just talks about what are the key decisions that the firms or the managers must take before deciding upon the foreign expansion. So one is the market selection, second is the timing, and third is the scale of entry and strategic commitment. How committed are you? So whenever you are putting forth your arguments for any of the above strategies, please ensure that you take into the consideration these 3 key decisions that the firms have to be averse with. Now, as you proceed further in this presentation, you will understand that the entire presentation has been divided into advantages and disadvantages of each of these critical decisions, right? So if you're talking about, let me use the highlighter, exporting, you will have certain advantages of exporting, certain disadvantages, right? I would want the group which is talking about advantages about exporting, please just do not focus only on advantages, read the disadvantages also, so that you are better equipped to handle the group discussions and tackle any arguments that comes from your counterparty, right? Similarly, we talk about piggy banking. You have advantages, you have disadvantages, counter trade advantages, disadvantages, so on and so forth. So I've tried to keep the language very simple. The presentation is very verbose. I have made an intentional attempt to keep the presentation as descriptive as possible so that it is easier for you to not go and search books to understand the concept. If you just devote about 10 minutes to this presentation, you will understand the concept very well. And I would want you all to not just do it alone, do it in group so that it becomes exciting and it becomes fun as a learning activity. And once you're done with the assigned strategies, we will discuss it in the class, and then the entire class also gets engaged and learns it in a better fashion and a better way. And I hope by doing this activity, we will be engaging in a better way and retaining and absorbing the information in a very positive manner. So I'm truly excited to look forward to your group discussions and learn together. Thank you very much, and have a pleasant day ahead.